Good morning, preppers and Patreons. Oh, that's right. That's right. If you didn't know this, and you shouldn't, my Patreons actually get their own good morning video as well. But today, because I'm on a mission that I can't even talk about, I'm going to combine them together because I'm like zeroed out on time. I got to get back and make a couple of other videos. But I wanted to talk to you guys about, I had watched a couple of videos this morning, and I watched Pinball and I watched Unapologetic, and I started watching a couple others. I watched the morning news. You know, I like to get my day started with a little bit of information. And some of it was actually pretty interesting stuff. So, Pinball's was on overconfidence. And we do see that from time to time, but I don't think that there's a lot of overconfidence in the prepping community. And I don't think that because everybody likes to play the hype game of, well, you prepare so you don't have to be worried. Well, if you weren't worried, then you wouldn't need to prepare. If we lived in this perfect little world these dystopian lefties are trying to make for us, then we wouldn't have to worry about anything. We'd have to worry about any food. We'd have to worry about, anything whatsoever. Okay? So, I don't really think that there's a lot of overconfidence. Okay? And then, Unapologetic, he talked about most preppers will fail. That was the title of his video, but sometimes videos aren't exactly what the intention of what the video will be sometimes turns in another direction. He stayed on point most of the time. But what I got from both of their videos was actually pretty interesting. One, the stockpiling of food. So, yeah, we stockpile food. Unapologetic, he was pretty on point with the way we do it based on Western society. And Western society says go buy food. He talked about the difference in prices. But that's what we do. We stockpile the food. In the old days, they stockpiled food that they needed to get through the winter because there would be an abundance of food that they would grow during the spring and the summer and into the fall. Which is why we learned to can, which is why, there was a time when I had to go buy bushels of tomatoes because the other half wanted to do canning for the rest of the year. So, yeah, that kind of stuff is real. But on the Western side, we just buy stuff. Yes, it does degrade. Yes, it does lose its caloric value. But the other point that has to be made, and we have to really think about this, is that now I'm going to flip my notes in my little note sheet over here. We need to learn to prep how you can prep. What do I mean? If you live in the city, it is not possible for you to plant 10 acres of land, an acre per person. It's not possible. It means you have to either get out of the city or make room for your canned goods. That's what it means. There's no way around that. It's not if or when. They say if you live in the city, you can have chickens. Well, that's great, but did you know in most cities, there are major ordinances that keep you from having what they consider to be livestock? You can have 3 or 4 chickens in your backyard and nobody would say a word. Your neighbors would be like, oh, that's cool, and you share your eggs with them, and everything's hunky-dory, right? Until one day that chicken decides to fly out in the yard, somebody sees it, and they go, oh, where that chicken came from. The next thing you know, you've got a problem. You got because of some rule that somebody wrote, because they didn't want the cost of their value or their HOA to get a bad name or whatever it may be. There are rules. So sometimes you cannot have those chickens. You know what I'm saying? So you need to prep based on your capability. It's about availability. It's about capability. And the other thing, too, is sometimes we need to remember that there is a difference between a prepper and a homesteader. Basically, a homesteader is someone who lives off their homestead. They grow their own food. They make their own meat. You see what I'm saying? If you don't have that ability, then you don't have a homestead. And sometimes the term prepper kind of gets diluted into homesteader because that's almost like the ultimate homesteader, just short of a bunker and an armored car. We need to remember those things. We can learn many, many things. No, let me say this right. Preppers can learn many things from homesteaders, and homesteaders can learn many things from preppers. In the same way that I learn things from the urban prepper that I wouldn't think of because I live in a non-urban environment. Okay, so until the next time, and yes, my Patreons, you will get your own video tomorrow. I'm just way too busy today. I literally have to pull off here in a second and do something else. All right, end it out. I'm babbling on. Love you guys. I want you all to stay safe. I want you to have a great day. And yes, you get it today. Woohoo!